Good evening. Would you please stand with us and say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the May 14 meeting for the Board of Trustees for the School Town of Speedway. Tonight we'll be operating from a 16-item agenda, the first of which is to approve the minutes from the April 9th meeting.
I move we approve the minutes from the April 9th, 2024 meeting.
I'll second.
Thanks so much. All in favor of approving the minutes from last month's meeting indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 4-0.
Minutes are signed.
Great, thank you. The second item is to give the public a statement of the purpose of the hearing that we are about to conduct, the public hearing that we are about to conduct. Indiana Code Section 6-1.1-20-3.1 tells us that whenever a school corporation proposes to enter into a lease agreement and/or issue bonds for the construction or renovation of a school building, resulting in total costs in excess of certain thresholds, the school corporation is required to hold 2 public hearings on its preliminary determination to issue the bonds or enter into the lease agreement. This meeting is the first of those hearings. Notice of both hearings has been published previously in the Indianapolis Business Journal and the Indianapolis Star, and was mailed to the Marion County Clerk and to the organizations that previously requested notice of such meeting under a different code section. The proofs of publication of the notice of the hearings were presented in this meeting. At this hearing, all interested people may give testimony and/or ask questions concerning the proposed construction, renovation of, and improvement to school facilities, including athletic facility renovation and construction, deferred maintenance improvements, site improvements, and HVAC improvements, which we generally will refer to as the projects. The purpose of this hearing is twofold. First, to inform the public as to the proposed projects, although I hope that the public is already informed of those as we've talked about them at literally every meeting this year. And secondly, to allow all interested parties, taxpayers, and patrons of the school corporation to voice their opinions as to the projects and to ask any questions. So tonight, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to have presentations regarding the need for the projects. We're going to have an evaluation of the existing facilities, including the building plan explaining the projects. We're going to talk about the estimated cost and schedule for the projects and explain how the projects could be funded and the tax rate impact that the projects would have on the community. So I think that's my intro. Next up is the presentation of the educational need for the project.
Okay. Welcome. How are you guys?
Fine, thanks.
I'm Bob Ross with Schmidt Associates. If you can pull up the PowerPoint. Just want to talk through some of the things. I know Kyle Miller was here last month, talked about the need for the project, but I'm just going to summarize that again quickly here for you and then go over the overview of the projects themselves. So we've taken a look at the football and track stadium. The bleachers that are out there right now are 60 plus years old in poor condition. And you'll see on the next slide the concrete that's spalling, underneath, water leakage through there. It's not enough storage. It's old facilities. The restrooms are in poor shape. Locker rooms in poor shape. So all of that for the bleachers. The running track, field events also in poor. The track is cracking and needs repair. The practice field is, or the field itself is limited due to not having synthetic turf, right? You can't use it all the time, especially like today, you wouldn't be able to use it. Stadium lights are also outdated. They're old halogen, not the LED, not energy efficient. Additionally to the fields out there for baseball, softball, soccer, there are limited ADA access points to get from ticketing out to the fields. The aux gym also is limited in space for PE and athletics, as you have one aux gym. So that limits the use you can have with many sports teams. And additionally, there's a storage space that is underneath the bleachers and is kind of crammed everywhere. So you need some more space, which is typical of most schools, but you need some more. And then mechanical units throughout the district. So there's a handful of chillers that are also 60 plus years old that need some attention for sure. So here's some pictures of what I was talking about. You can see from the bleachers that the concrete is falling apart. Spalling, the middle picture there is water coming through the roof itself, and then you can see the concrete and the rail separating there as you walk on the walkway. And then the press box itself, the floors in poor condition, used a lot, and just need updated. And then the right is a picture of, you can see the limited space for storage as you go through. So moving on to kind of the overview of what kind of being proposed for the projects to fix those kind of needs that have came out of the assessment. A new track and field events. So your track now needs to be upgraded, propose a new one. New synthetic turf, this would help get you to be able to use multiple sports there. You're right now limited to the field being in good condition, not raining. Synthetic turf is something that most schools are going to be able to get band down there, soccer, football, all the different sports can use it. New bleachers, as we show, they were falling apart, so you need new bleachers and new press box. End zone building, so underneath your bleachers now is where you have your locker rooms, concession stand, all of that. So with the removal of those bleachers, a new end zone building for locker room, storage space, all those type of things. And then related items that would go along with the tracks and football stadium. ADA access, again, as I mentioned, limited access to the baseball, softball fields. Getting some sidewalks to go to the bleachers would help access, help everyone get there. And then the aux gym, looking at a new building addition, which would include multiple courts for PE classes, extracurricular, athletics, after school, all those type of events, and then a new weight room as well. That's a little bit bigger for more students to be able to use. And then we're also proposing a new storage building, maintenance building on site, and I'll show you a graphic here in a second. And then also mechanical units, mechanical projects throughout the district. So there would be multiple throughout multiple schools, and I'll show you a list of that here in a second as well. So here's a little graphic you can see of all the different proposed projects. Starting from the east, the building addition, you can see we're looking at adding gyms to your existing aux gym now. And then you can see going over the orange boxes, that would be a new weight room with a new entry lobby space in there. Then the blue line, as you continue west, would be the new ADA access to both baseball and softball. And then as you continue on, new synthetic turf field with the new track, new bleachers, new end zone building, and a maintenance storage building. So those kind of what you're proposed at the high school projects. And then the next slide, unless there's any questions. Next slide is all the different mechanical projects that are being proposed as well. So some upgrades at the high school, the Wheeler Elementary, Allison Elementary, Newby Elementary, and Fisher Elementary. So all of these different schools would get upgrades in their HVAC, along with some other miscellaneous items that will help the school. So That is what I have for the overview of the project. Is there any questions on the needs or summary of projects being proposed? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Luke Brugman with People. We serve as bond underwriter for the school corporation. Here today to talk about the potential financing and the taxpayer impact that it may have on the average taxpayer. So if we pull up the presentation here. The first thing that we always look at is the school corporation's outstanding debt payments, and right now the school corporation has one outstanding bond issue, and that's the 2020 general obligation bonds. The last payment there is in 2024. If you flip to the next slide, this is the school corporation's current debt service tax rate, and it follows very closely to the school corporation's debt payments. In 2024, the current debt service tax rate is 0.0459. We work with probably over 100 school corporations around the state. I'm not sure that anyone has as unique of a situation as Speedway in the fact that they have one bond issue with their last payment falling off yet this year. So when we're structuring this new bond issue, we're trying to typically structure around the school corporation's existing debt obligations, but for Speedway Schools, there is no existing debt beginning in 2025. So for this project, we're looking at $32 million. That would be a 29-cent debt service tax rate increase over the 2024 rate. So it's going to be a 33.5 cents. That also leaves the school corporation tax rate capacity beginning in 2029, knowing that there are some ongoing needs that school corporations have. We don't like to hamstring school corporations up for 20 years, so leaving some capacity here in 4 to 5 years to come back and potentially tackle any future needs if those do arise. But what's unique, again, about Speedway Schools is that while there is a 29-cent tax rate increase to the debt service fund, 2,400 of 27 homestead parcels are currently at their property tax cap. So anyone that has a gross assessed value or a market value of $149,525 is already at their 1% cap and therefore will not feel an impact due to this project. So again, almost 90% of the homes. We have a chart there showing what the average increase would be. So if you're under that amount, you would see a little bit of an increase of about $4.50 a month. So for a $75,000 home, that annual increase is $53 or $4.44 a month. For a $100,000 home, that's just under $56 annually or $4.65 monthly. Once you get over that $150,000 gross assessed value, there's no tax rate or there's no impact to those homeowners because they're already at their cap. So while tonight's session is strictly informational, we know that when we come back next month, there will be a resolution in front of you. So these are the maximum parameters that will be set forth in those resolutions. These are maximum parameters. We can always come down from these numbers, but once they are set, we cannot go above those numbers. So the par amount of the bonds, $32 million. The estimated cost of issuance and underwriter's discount of $500,000, leaving proceeds available for hard and soft project costs of $31.5 million. We estimate interest rates of 2 to 6%. If we sold the bonds today, you're closer to about 4.25. Again, this is the first step in the legal process. We're trying to be conservative with some of these numbers. The estimated final maturity is January 15 of 2044. The estimated total interest cost, $18,242,500. And then the maximum annual payment that the school corporation can make in any given year is $4 million. If you simply take that divided by the school corporation's net assessed value in 2024, you get the maximum tax rate impact. However, that does not account for any potential net assessed value growth or phasing this bond issue in terms of the financing. When we do factor that in, the net tax rate increase over the 2024 debt service rate, like I showed on the previous chart, is 29 cents. A couple other ratios that we're required to walk through per state statute is the school corporation's max annual payments as a percentage of your net assessed value, 0.3695, and then the direct and overlapping debt as a percentage of your net assessed value. That's looking at not just Speedway schools, but looking at the town of Speedway, the county, the city, all of the municipal entities, and that is 9.69%. So that is all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions from the administration or the board.
You said that you work with other school corporations and that we're rather unique in our current cost rate. What is a typical cost rate for some of the other school corporations that you work with?
Barry, you may know the answer off the top of your head, but
The average tax rate across the state on a whole, all funds, is $1.05. Your debt service rate's really going to vary, but you're going to see anywhere from probably low end 30 cents to a high of 90 cents. So on average, debt service rates across the state are in probably the 60 to 70 cent range.
and after this project, you'd be at 33.5 cents.
Okay, thank you.
Would you repeat, did you say about 90% of the homeowners would notice nothing in the way of property tax increases?
That's correct. So any home that has a gross assessed value at or above $149,525 would not feel an impact due to this project. Thank you.
We're okay. That's combined now, so he's doing 6. Yeah. After him.
Yeah, okay. Just for those keeping track on our agenda, we're still kind of floating in that 4 or 5 range.
That's right. And good evening to the members of board administration. My name is Eric Long. I serve as bond counsel to the School Town of Speedway with the law firm of Ice Miller. Just want to talk about timeline, next steps. Obviously, this is the first official hearing, the first official action. As Board President DeGay has mentioned, there have been many, many discussions leading up to this evening, but this is the first official hearing for this project. Next steps, we are going to have a second preliminary determination hearing at the regularly scheduled June board meeting, at which point there will be official board resolutions proposed. Then we have a waiting period. In the early summer, we call it the application petition period. Assuming we get through that successfully, we'd have additional school board action in August, September timeframe. So some additional boxes to check from a legal perspective on the state law side and the federal tax side, going through lease documents, et cetera. And then if we stay on the same timeline, it all goes well, we would sell and close on the bonds to fund all the projects that have been discussed this evening this fall and have shovels in the ground as soon as possible. So that's just at a high level what we're looking at as far as the next official steps from the legal perspective. Again, as other folks have mentioned up here, happy to entertain any questions on that front that this board may have. And hearing none, I'll thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Thanks, Eric.
At this point, we are open for public comment. And to the extent that there is public comment, I'd like to remind you that it will fall under our normal policy for receiving public comment. We just won't push it all to the end. We'll do that part right now. So if that's what you want to talk about, you don't have to stay till the bitter end. Okay, despite having quite a few folks here, we do not have, it looks like, anyone who wants to make comment. So we will close this part of we'll close the hearing and conclude the public hearing aspect of tonight's meeting. Thank you.
We dismiss all these people and
Yes.
go home to their families.
Yes, all of you who don't have a reason to want to hang around, feel free to leave.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
David, thank you. Kevin, thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Luke. Thanks, Barry. Sarah. Thank you.
children.
Okay. Looks like we're at the 7th item on our agenda, which is to approve the service agreement for school-based Medicare billing.
Thank you, Madam President. The recommendation, the school town of Speedway presently is not invoicing for Medicaid reimbursements. It's something we haven't done on our side where some other pieces of our schools have, such as nursing. But our team believes that now engaging in Medicaid billing will be advantageous of upwards to almost $150,000 at this point in time. So Relay, this group that I'm bringing to you today to consider, offers a convenient web-based platform that facilitates documentations of services and Medicaid billing, ensuring compliance and the success of Medicaid program. The recommendation is to approve this service agreement beginning the school-based Medicaid billing. In other words, our people will sign people up for this, and what that does is every other school does this already. We just do not. So if they qualify, we get reimbursed, and this could pay for almost our transportation fund for our special needs students that we are required to do. They do get 8%, which looking around other schools, that's a little on the low end. It's probably going to increase, but they don't have a massive presence right now into Indiana. I do know 4 or 5 other schools just picked them up. So going through the training, I'd like to thank Andrea Lakin as she brought this, and we went through some training together, and she did a tremendous job on this. So I'd like to thank her. Andrea McIntosh is here tonight if you have any questions for that, but my recommendation is to approve this so we can get our people trained on it and start some revenue.
Is this something that, let's follow the right order.
Yep.
I move we approve the service agreement for school-based Medicaid billing.
I'll second.
And any discussion? Except what I'm going to say? Anything else? Is this something that has any effect on our employees at all?
Employees, go ahead.
You shall.
Andrea McIntosh.
It does. No effect on students or parents, but the people who would feel the effect would be therapists, so speech language pathologists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, and then special education transport employees, so bus monitor, bus driver. We are fortunate to have people who've all worked in other districts and who have done this before, but they would need updated training on the Relay platform. And it becomes, they keep logs of the service they do, but there's an extra step on putting it into this portal, typically is what that looks like. So it does create a bit of a lift for them, and I know Ms. Lakin's worked on a training plan, and that would be done in chunks to make sure it's manageable for them.
But what I'm hearing you is the effect is them having to do something else, not them like financially or their...
Sure. Yes. So essentially a student who has an individual education plan, an IEP, a student with special needs, who also their family's eligible for Medicaid or they're using Medicaid, those are the students we're talking about. And what happens is at the end of that IEP conference, the parents presented with a permission form to sign to say, are you okay with the school district accessing this? It doesn't do anything to touch anything to do with their personal Medicaid. They don't feel anything after the signature. But with parent signature, that then allows our therapists, if they're providing a medical service like speech language pathology to a student through an IEP, to enter information into this portal, and then the school district can draw funding for those medical services. So it creates some extra paperwork on our staff end, but they're wonderful people who I know would be willing to do that because there's funding attached where we can then purchase some things for our students with special needs. So
That's it. Sounds like a win-win.
yeah.
Win-win.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thanks, Andrea.
All in favor of approving the service agreement for the school-based Medicaid billing indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 4-0. The next item on the agenda is to approve beverage company agreement.
Thank you, Madam President. The recommendation is to approve a Pepsi contract starting on July 1st, 2024 and expiring June 30th, 2031. Pepsi has agreed to pay up to $10,000 a year versus our current provider of $2,500 a year. There is not much more to say than that. That's a pretty good chunk of money there. So this is a longer contract than I like to sign for the corporation, but I think the reward is worth it. So my recommendation is to approve this contract.
What's the board's pleasure?
I move that we approve the beverage company contract.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Thanks for negotiating that. All in favor of approving the beverage company contract agreement, indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 4-0. The ninth item on the agenda is acknowledging a donation from the Speedway Lions Club.
The Speedway Lions Club continues to give back to our community and our school corporation. The future Speedway Lions Club president is Mr. John Disney. You're welcome. And I'm currently the president of the Speedway Lions Club. But working with them, and Lion Tom is next to me at Speedway, and so was Lion Shane Clampett that was here. So we are not only employees of the school, but we believe in joining and being a part of the Speedway Lions Club to give back to our community. And there's a few people in the audience too as Lions. This is not a new thing, but I'm so proud. The Speedway Lions Club with the pancake breakfast and with the parking and just being around 30 to 50 guys in every meeting that care about this community and care about this school. Recently, they've donated $15,000 to Speedway High School to replace a sound system that I've only been here since 2014, but people around me have been here a long time. And I think it's a good thing that I don't know exactly when that sound system was put in, but the building was here in 1962. I'm sure past people could tell me exactly, but the time has come, and the Speedway Lions Club donated $15,000 for our sound system, which we will be able to use for our graduation with Principal Claiborne over there in just a few days here next Thursday. So I would just like to acknowledge the Speedway Lions Club for their $15,000 donation to the Speedway schools.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lions.
Yes.
The next item is to approve continued participation in the advanced placement program.
The recommendation is to continue our affiliation with the Advanced Placement Teacher Incentive Program with the University of Notre Dame. Speedway High School is a part of the first cohort in the AP TIP grant back in 2012. Participation in this program was originally scheduled for a 3-year cycle, but because of the success in expanding the number of Speedway High School students enrolled in achieving qualified scores, our AP Math, Science, English exams, we continue our affiliation with the AP TIP Indiana as an affiliate school. We have been an affiliate school for 8+ years, and our affiliation also provides our teachers with exclusive access to advanced placement, best practices, training, and professional development. Our students' continued success and the consistent expansion of our AP program is the best evidence of its value.
What's the board's pleasure on this?
I'll move that we approve the continued participation in advanced placement program with Notre Dame.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on this? I'll say that, every year we get are reported to about the outcome of our high school students' AP performance. And every year without fail, we think, oh, this will have to be the year. I mean, it cannot get better than this. And every year the high school gets better and does better. And that isn't just by, it isn't just one metric. There's the high school administration does an incredible job of considering a variety of things that matter. And whether that's the number of students, whether that's the makeup of those students, whether that's the actual scores, that's individual teachers' continued growth at achieving higher pass rates. We bring up a concern, something that we'd say, oh, look at this, and they do it, and it works, and it's amazing. And this program, I'm sure, is important to that success. I'm not sure it's integral, because I think a lot of that is our administration and the culture and teachers that we have in that high school building. But this matters. And so, and I'm proud that we do this. I think it's pretty rare that we offer the types of incentives that we do. My understanding is that very few schools, and certainly very few schools that aren't in this program, do this. And so I'm proud that we do this. Yeah.
Laura, if I can ask JP, what % of the senior class this year has taken an AP class?
We'll be at about 96%.
Can you say that again?
96%.
He said 96.
I mean, public, it's unheard of.
Super rare.
Unheard of. It's amazing. We are really proud. Yeah. All in favor of approving the continued participation in the advanced placement program, indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 4-0. Next up is item 11, which is the presentation of the athletic handbook for the 24-25 school year.
Each year, we review the student parent handbook, and then we review the athletic handbook. That handbook is being reviewed, or has been reviewed, by our high school athletic director, assistant athletic director at the high school administration, and coaches. And there are very minimal changes to the handbook. And the two changes that are in the handbook are one school that has left the ICC, the Indiana Crossroads Conference, and that's Cascade for the 24-25 school year, and the addition of Covenant Christian into the ICC for the 24-25 school year. So those were the only changes to the athletic handbook for the 24-25 school year.
Well, I'll move that we approve the athletic handbook for the 24-25 school year.
I'll second.
Once again, I have something to say. Does anybody else have any discussion? Come on, someone. A couple points, and that I would share with the board, because I had a couple concerns with the handbook, one of which was reflecting, whether it was necessary to reflect the changes to the upcoming graduation pathways. There's the section in there that talks about that. And Dr. Trebley and I talked about that. And in the end, those changes are hypothetical right now.
Yes.
I mean, and so, and it makes a lot more sense to wait until they're actually changed. And that does make sense to me. But I guess know that, we're on top of that. We care about that to the extent that, we're representing in an athletic handbook things that could impact a high school athlete's ability to play sports in higher education. We want to make sure that's accurate. And so if and when changes do occur, we will make that. I also talked with Dr. Trebley about a concern I have with the just the change in the athletic conference. And now when we first went into this conference, we as a board were concerned about the public versus private school makeup. And I continue to be very concerned about the public versus private school makeup. And so that is something that is on everyone's radar and is being, looked at, thought about. And, we're kind of where we are right now with the 8 schools. But I don't know that it's been even up I don't know. But it's not my favorite.
Well, I think it hit the Indy Star this last week, that the intent of some schools continue that communication to join a public school. This Indy Star, I think, took it it just happened. So that conversation has happened with an intent with Speedway and some schools in the ICC, along with Tri-West and Indian Creek, joining a conference that's all public, that's all geographically. We're kind of the center school, basically in the middle of that. But it's not just that. Our people, this isn't just about athletics. We want to be a part of a conference that has academic side on it, that has the band competition, the cheerleading competition. And with STEM going the way it is, we want schools that do the things that we do, that our kids have chances to compete with. So it's not just athletics. athletics. It's a whole bunch of things that we're looking at right now. And Athletic Director Maple's here right now, and I know he's put a lot of time in that, and we're just still continuing doing that communication with people.
Well, and we really appreciate that as well. It is important for there to be parity in who we're competing with. And so.
But that's down the road, so we still have this athletic handbook for this year and next year before we even get the cart in front of the horse on that.
All in favor of approving the athletic handbook for the 24-25 school year indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 4-0. Okay. Maybe an item I don't have a comment about. We're going to approve the amendment to the food services agreement.
Well, you might have a comment. Bill, can you throw this slide up that I'm hooked up to? Yes, thanks, Bill. You're the best. June 3rd, Bill. Thanks. June 3rd through the 14th, I guess I can read it here. We are doing free lunches again, everybody. Summer school, Speedway High School, school cafeteria, June 3rd through the 14th, Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 1:15. I'm a big proponent of this. I know everybody in this room is a proponent for this. Please come. If our numbers remain high, then we'll change this to do it more and more in the summer. But I get it too. If you come and you don't like the hot dog, I mean, maybe give us another try the next day. So just please come, bring your kids. And if your kids are enrolled in academic summer school, there'll be a free breakfast provided at your building too. So we're trying to go all in on that. We're still working through some numbers. Hopefully I have great news in June. You can put it back on me, please. Thanks. Me. Thanks, Bill. All right, I'm back. We're also looking, we haven't given the numbers out on how much a meal will cost next year. So I'm not allowed to say things that might not come true, but we're working on making that number 0, so you can fill in the blanks on that. But we're hopefully going to get to that point, and we're just got to make sure the numbers are right there. So I know we have free breakfast right now, and we have a pretty good program with Airmark across the board. With saying that, now to the lined item here, my recommendation is to approve the food service management agreement, and that is with Airmark. They've been a great partner for as long as I've been here. Elizabeth Schmidt and the cafeteria supervisor Ryan Hahn exceeds all expectations. The future adjusted fees are small and presented over the contract that we signed last year for a 5-year deal. Each year we have to do an amendment. So in your packet, you have the complete FSMA proposal is enclosed. So again, the recommendation is to approve this amendment.
I move that we approve Amendment 1 to the Food Service Management Agreement.
I'll second.
Perfect. Having been moved and seconded, any discussion? All in favor of approving the amendment to the food services management agreement indicate by raising your hand. And that passes 4-0. So the 13th item is one of my personal favorites, which is to approve the grants received. So $181,756.27, which is pretty awesome. The next item is the personnel report.
Personnel report for the month of May has several items on it. We have a retirement. Elia Molberg has submitted her letter of retirement as secretary of Fisher Elementary School. She's been with us for over 20 years in that position. We have the following resignations. Julia Shine, who is a 5th grade teacher at Newby Elementary, and I do need to say that she is leaving us because she is going to be teaching overseas. She applied to a program, was approved by that, and will be teaching over in Spain the next year. Eric Roseborough has resigned 2 positions. One is a teacher at Speedway High School, and then 8th grade basketball coach at Speedway Junior High School. Remember, Eric was approved as our director of facilities at a previous board meeting. Erica Hunneman resigned her position as assistant cross-country coach at Speedway High School. Caitlin Sears, sad to see her go, but she is resigning her position as a drama chair at Speedway High School. Cody Oakwood as an English learner teacher at Speedway High School. On this month's disability leave, there's two people. Morgan Klingerman, who is a teacher at Wheeler Elementary School, has applied for FMLA leave from May 6th to August the 1st. And then Lori Lamb, Lori is retiring at the end of the school year, but she lost her mother here recently, and she had to take FMLA leave during that time. For employment, more of a positive note. Employment, recommendation is for Diana Kiesler as a cafeteria worker at Speedway High School. Haley Cooper is an elementary teacher. Lindsay Limbach is an elementary teacher. Sarah Reuter is a secondary English teacher at Speedway High School. Karen Dusek is a secondary English teacher. Nope, that's not correct. Karen Dusek is going to be our
Life skills.
life skills. Thank you so much. Life skills, yes, life skills teacher. Recommendation to be a life skills teacher next year. And then a volunteer coach as Matt Klumper is volunteer golf coach at Speedway Junior High School. So my recommendation is to approve the personnel report as presented.
Yes, no?
I'll move we approve the personnel report as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? Then all in favor of approving the personnel report as presented, raise your hand. And that passes 4-0. Do we have any?
Yes.
Yes?
You want to introduce?
Yes.
In the other business, it's my pleasure to introduce to the board a young man that is going to be our new principal at Fisher Elementary, and that's Mr. Jason Brooks. And Jason, if you'd come forward and tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Disney. Appreciate it. Dr. Trebley, President, members of the board, just want to start by saying thank you for this opportunity. I am extremely excited to return to Speedway. I actually began my career here 22 years ago. I sound old saying that out loud, but a while ago. And, I began teaching. My first job out of college was at Allison Elementary. And I knew then that Speedway was a special place. And I did something right because while I was here in Speedway, I met my wife, Erica, who is tagging along with me today still. So, but yeah, so I've been a principal in Warren Township on the east side, along with some folks behind me here. But, I remember about 9-10 years ago, I think it was, Betsy Snap, who was in Warren Township at the time, announced to us that she was leaving Warren and coming to Speedway. And I was so happy for her, and a little bit jealous too, right? So I knew then that I had to get back here. I had to get back to Speedway, and that's what felt right. And from that point forward, that was the path that I knew I needed to be on. So, I'm just, obviously Speedway is a very special place to us, and I'm honored to be able to come back here to hopefully finish my career where it all began, and just, to be a part of the Speedway community. So appreciate it and look forward to working with you all and getting to know you all, and just happy to be back. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Jason, who are the other two guests you have with you?
Behaving so well behind me. My two daughters wanted to come along tonight, so I've got Carly and Aubrey. I've got a 5th grader and a 3rd grader here. So thank you guys.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Very well.
Yes, excellent.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Anything else? Okay.
Other business?
Oh, yeah, any other business?
Well, just a quick preview, Bill, we're up again. Can you put my screen back up? Next week, we usually do a little assessment throughout May. I guess this is May, in April and May. We're collecting all the information. Mr. Disney is knee-deep in data with the principals. But we did get this released, I don't know, it was released about a month ago, I guess, a few weeks ago, I guess after our last board meeting. But very proud of the high school, but we have more to bring to you for all of our schools. And we talk a lot about the high school, but again, this is 4 years in a row of a top 11 school in the state of Indiana for 344 schools this year. And that's what you can see. There's traditional public schools, but overall we were 7th. This says 4th because it's public schools. And I like to be on this list. Last year we were number 1, and this year we dropped to 4th, but we're top 10, and that is something to be proud about. So this isn't 1 year. This has been back to back to back to back to back years. So just proud of our teachers, our staff, our students, parents, community, our administrators. It takes truly a village to get this done. So our culture, someone asked me today, what's the secret? You can put me back on here, Bill. The secret is our culture. The secret is on how the kids walk in our doors and how they leave our doors and what they think of our schools and our teachers. And we know we're not perfect, but we continue to do the best we can do, and we'll keep working for the people here in Speedway. So thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, with that, we will retire to approved claims. Thanks so much.